Hi everybody, and welcome back to day 2 of Trellomania. I'm Ashley Nassar, and I'm your host this week, where we're covering 5 different Trello workflows and boards to keep you organized and stress-free. So let's hop on into day 2. Today's workflow is a little different than yesterday's, and the rest of the workflows this week will follow suit. While yesterday we were talking about a weekly schedule, and this is something that looks completely the same for everybody. Everyone has a Monday through Sunday. The rest of these are not. Today's workflow will be about your clients, how to get them into a client portal, how to get them set up, follow through the process that you're taking them on, and have them be engaged with it and organized in there. But everyone's clients and everyone's services look different. So today we're going to be talking about the pre-work to get these boards set up, as well as how to put your clients in and follow them through at the end. This will look different for everybody, of course. Today's board that I'll be showing you an example of is when I take my clients through a branding and website design project. This can be different if it's just a branding project. This could be different if it's an e-commerce project. It could be different if it's a totally different set of services. And obviously, if you offer different things, it's going to look different for you as well. But that's okay, because the steps that I'm going to take you through today are going to help you create these for any of your services, any of your clients, no matter what those are. As I mentioned, these boards are going to require a little bit of pre-work. In order to get them set up, you'll need to think about all of the services that you offer, and you'll want a board for each one of these. Now, this board will not change, and you will just make a copy of it each time you have a new client and you want to put them into it, okay? But this is going to be your template board that you will use going throughout the rest of your business. It can grow, it can change. That's the wonderful thing about Trello. With a few simple clicks, you can have a whole new client process, and the next time you put a client into it, it's ready to go. So you're going to want to create a board for each of the services that you offer. I have one for just a brand. I have one for clients that are doing just a website. I have one for websites and branding. I have one for the intensives. I have one for the mentorship programs. So all of these boards, because they're completely different, need to have a template for them. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're just going to create a board. Don't add anything to it yet. Just a board for each service that you have. Once you get through that, you're going to go into each service and you're going to think about the stages that you go through with these. So for instance, if this is a design client, the first part is that we're getting together all the information that we need. So finding out about their target audience, all the pre-work, getting them into their contract, getting them proposal approved, getting invoice paid, all that. That is stage 1. Stage 2, we move into actually working on the design. So this is where we are gathering things from Pinterest. We are working on, getting together all the design elements of mood boards being put together. Initial logos are being sent over. That's all one stage. And then we move into a development stage. So there's a third list for that stage. And then for the launch is a fourth list. So go through each of your boards that you've set up for these services and think about those major stages that you have people go through. It doesn't have to be fancy. Try to keep it minimal. You don't want 7, 8, 9 different stages. It can be a little bit much. However, if that's what your process is, maybe that's what it requires. I'm confident that you can probably scooch that down to at least 4 or 5. So once you get these lists set up, you're going to go through and you're going to do this for each service. Then you're going to go in and you're going to think about, okay, now that I have this stage set up, what are all the things that happen in there? And in a second, we're going to hop over to a screen share and I'm going to show you mine, so this will make a little bit more sense. But you're going to want to put a card in for each item that happens in that stage. So again, if we're in the design stage, we are gathering, I've got a card for the Pinterest information. I've got a card for the mood board. I've got a card for the initial logo designs, a card for the approval. And that's something that we'll talk about too in a little bit, but how you can basically set up a contracting system in here as well. There's cards for each of these things. So think those things through. Once you get through all of those, you should have a template for every service that you offer ready to go, and all you need to do is copy that board over and put your new client in. How great is that? Once you've gotten through all of this, you have all of your templates set up and ready to go for your clients. So now it's time to get into the actual workflow. When you have a new client come in, all you'll do is create a copy of that board, add your client in there as a member. If they're not a member of Trello, that's fine. You'll send them, as you know, when you go to put in their email, it'll send them a request to join Trello, and then you get upgraded to Trello Gold. So it's a win-win. I've never had a client really fight or anything or complain about having to join Trello. It's a super easy process, and within a few clicks, they're in the board and ready to go. So you add them in there. You're going to want to go into all your cards. You're going to want to add due dates to them because it's going to keep you and your client accountable. There will be things that they'll need to turn in. They've got due dates there set out for them. There'll be things that you need to turn in and you've got due dates set out for you. And if you remember from yesterday when we talked about our weekly workflow, those items that are in these lists and have the due dates, those are going to be the things that are copied over onto your week so that you can plan out your week, okay? So you're going to want to go in, you're going to add due dates to them. You're going to add your client as a member to each of the cards that they need to follow up on, add something to, whatever it is. If it's something, for instance, like where I'm presenting their logo design, I'm not going to add them as a member, but once I go in and I update all that, I'll tag them in it, and then that way they can go in and they know that they need to look at it this time. But I only add them as members to the cards that they're actually going to need to do something. So they need to check off that they approved the proposal. They need to check off that they approved the design, whatever it may be. Those are the cards you're going to want to assign them to. And then each week, like I said, make sure you're going in, looking at what you have coming due that week and copying it over to your weekly board so that you can get all those things done in a stress-free manner, y'all. So we're going to hop over to a screen share. I'm going to walk you through my branding and web design board and what that looks like. And then I'm going to show you these exact steps again and kind of explain what that looks like on the Trello board. Okay, let's go. So here we are in my branding and website service. And as you can see, this is the board. I have different lists for each of the stages that we go through. So our project information and onboarding, there's all kinds of things here for them to see, for them to approve, for them to make sure that they've done. And then also if they need to add anything in here, it shows them how to do that. Our first stage is the design aspects. We've got discovery on Pinterest, uploading all their content. I'm doing the mood board, a style guide, logo design, all of that. How much payment they are going to have due, and it shows them that that's due after all of this. Now again, this board doesn't have any due dates in it because this isn't one with a client, and I'll show you one with a client in a second. But this is what that template looks like. So it's all set up. Anytime I have a new client, all I have to do is hit show menu, go to more, and then hit copy board. Now I can say, let's see, Granite World web design project. Copied over, boom, done, ready to go. And it automatically opens that board so you can see now this is a whole new one. Now all I need to do is go in and add the person to it. So I'm not going to do that right now because they're going to get a bunch of email notifications, but okay, so this is something that they need to do. They need to come in here. I need them to read this. I need them to create this to-do list. So I would add them as a member here. Again, if I haven't added them to this board because I don't want them to get the notification. But if I did, it would show up right under here. I'm going to add myself, and it's done. Now I know that I need to do this. Well, I'm them. They need to do this. They would need to approve this project proposal, and they need to do the 50% of their payment. They would also be assigned to the discovery on Pinterest, to uploading the content onto the Dropbox. And that would be it for this one, because everything else, their mood board, their style guide, their logo design, site layout, except for the design approval, that's all me. So those are all things that I would assign to myself. These are all going to have due dates. Once they have their due dates in there, then all I have to do is go in at the end of the week, copy it over the cards to next week for the things that are coming up and schedule them out. Everything's getting done. I'm not having to think about, oh my God, did I think about, did I do this one thing for this client or this thing for that client? Everything's here. Everything that I need to do is already here. And all I have to do is just click through it. So it makes it way easier, you guys. So that's it for day 2. Your client workflow is done. You guys, how simple was that? Okay, so again, just to recap, we're going to create a board for each of your services. These are templates. This is going to stay this way until you make any changes to it, and you're just going to copy a new board over every time you have a client coming into that service, okay? So make a board for each service, go into those boards, add in lists for each of the stages, then go into those lists, add in cards for everything that happened in that stage. And then all you have to do is every time a new client comes into a service, you copy a board over, you title it with their name, and you add them to it. You go in, assign your due dates, add them in, and add yourself into the things that are going to be due, and you just are done. Then each week, all you have to do is copy over the week's coming things into your weekly schedule, schedule it out, and you're getting everything done. That easy, no stress. All right? So make sure you join us back here tomorrow for day 3 when we'll be talking about an employee workflow. So how to get your employees or your team, doesn't matter if it's a single employee or a whole team working on this, it's going to apply to both, getting them into a board so that everyone's being able to track jobs, communication, and it all lives in one place, and you don't have to be scrambling everywhere, and your team doesn't have to scramble for information that they need as well. So join us back here again. Don't forget that under the video is the link to the worksheet for today that's going to have the instructions on how to do this workflow every single time. And that's it. I'll see you tomorrow.